Am I the only one surprised that the real world location of this movie took place in New York City and not Derry, Maine? Today on Readus Reviews, I review The Dark Tower, a movie based on a series of novels written by Stephen King. Which, by the way, before I start this review, I feel like I have to say that I have not read any of the books. So like a lot of my other fellow plebs out there, I went into this film with limited to no knowledge of the lore, outside the knowledge that it was based off of a series of novels. And basically the story is about this kid who keeps having these visions about this other world. The man in black, played by Matthew McConaughey, is attacking this very tall black tower that every time it hits, it affects our world. His parents don't believe him, his shrink doesn't believe him. To prove that he's telling the truth, he goes out to find evidence, only to end up in said world to find the gunslinger. And together they go to find and stop the man in black before he destroys both their world and ours. So after hearing my explanation of the story, if you were to say to yourself, wow, that really sounds like The Last Action Hero, it's because you're right. Because this movie follows pretty much the same beats as a 90s film with a kid that goes into an alternate reality. Although I do have to admit that the adult take on it was pretty well done, and it took itself seriously for the most part. But most importantly, at least for me, the movie followed its own rules as they were explained to us. So with that, let's talk about the characters that stood out to me the most, starting with Matthew McConaughey's The Man in Black. As far as his power set and the visual representation of said power set is concerned, he was awesome. Like, the moment that I first saw him use his abilities, I was all like, oh, so that's just a thing you can do. Okay, alright, I see you out here, alright. Oh, you can do that too? You know what? Let's just throw fire in there. Just for good. Yeah, that's fine. I understand why you're still alive. I completely understand why you are still alive. But unfortunately, despite his abilities, I felt that he was a tad bit one-dimensional. I say that because it was never officially established why he wants to destroy the world. Like, we have an idea, but the motivations weren't very clear. But I will say that Matthew McConaughey definitely did a lot with the script that he was handed. He knows how to play pompous and arrogant very well, and I felt that he was able to bring that aspect of the character out to focus. And then there's Idris Elba, who plays the gunslinger, who also was very impressive regarding his skill set and abilities. Like, every time I saw him pick up his guns, I was like, so everybody here is about to die. Good to know. Yet despite this, his character I felt was still pretty reserved to me. And unfortunately, I don't mean that in a way that makes him interesting. Because I felt that I would have gotten a lot more invested in his character if I saw him do more. And you know, just given more opportunities over the course of the movie to actually show off his character. But I will say that the key aspects for a casual moviegoer to understand where he's coming from are definitely there. But for people like me, and probably some of you readers out there who look at characters and want development from them, And trust me, readers, while that was definitely a disappointing factor in this movie, there were a few others. One actually tying into the cons that I had with both of the main characters, being that I felt that the movie was too condensed. Like, it could have benefited from having a longer running time. Because of this, scenes that had the potential for very good character development and very good dialogue were either cut too soon or ended abruptly. And while I am glad that Idris Elba played the gunslinger, there were certain parts of this movie where I wish he didn't. And that's mostly because there are moments where I felt that he was following the trope of the magical Negro, which, for some of my non-woke readers out there, the magical Negro trope is a trope in which an African American, or any minority, finds themselves mentoring or guiding a white character to do a task that they're clearly capable of doing themselves. And why do I feel like the gunslinger kind of follows this trope sometimes? Because the focus of the movie is on this preteen white kid with hidden potential. Which just so happens to be another thing that I didn't necessarily care for in this movie. The fact that Stephen King blatantly recycles concept from his past works. In this case, The Shining. What do I mean by that? Watch the movie and you'll see for yourself. But there were other things about this movie that I did like. Like I mentioned before, the display of both the Man in Black and the gunslinger's abilities were awesome. The music was also awesome. It was as if Hans Zimmer had a baby with Yoko Kanno's Turn A Gundam soundtrack. And for the baby steps that we got regarding the lore building for Midworld in this movie, they were pretty good. I just wish they didn't rush it. Because overall, readers, The Dark Tower was fine, but it was too condensed. It could have benefited from one or two or a combination of many things. Either better pacing, either a longer runtime, or even, hell, just abandon the movie concept altogether and make a TV series from the get-go. Because as a movie franchise, The Dark Tower has a lot of potential to be up there with The Lord of the Rings. But instead, the way they treated this first installment was more like The Last Witch Hunter. Still a good movie, but you can clearly see where they decide to spend their money. Definitely made me want to read the books though, so that's a plus. I would have to say that if you're going to go see this in theaters, catch a matinee. As for home release, I would recommend you either rent it or get a DVD copy. I don't think it's worth a Blu-ray. So with that, readers, your homework assignment for the day. Write in the comment section below what you thought of The Dark Tower if you've seen it, or whether you think it deserves more film installments of the franchise, or if it should go on TV. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Readus 101. Class dismissed.